Developing emotional intelligence, why this can change your life forever. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Mind Engineer. Here, Tommy Walker sharing insight and tools on how the mind works and how to start making deep changes. I've been studying the mind now for 17 years. I have worked with thousands of people in more than 44 countries around the world. And I've learned from the best out there to understand how the mind works and how to start bringing changes. That's why I say that when you start practicing, truly practicing emotional intelligence, your life can really change forever. I want to share this with you, and I'm going to explain why I say such a bold statement. And I can attest to that, and the people, so many people I work with can attest to that too. So what is emotional intelligence? For many years in psychology, most people thought that your IQ, your intellect, was going to define your future. According to your IQ, if you had an IQ, you had a very good potential of having a good life in front of you. Years later, as more people started studying this, and mainly Daniel Goleman, he destroyed that side of psychology where it talked about IQ, and he presented his theory and studies around EQ, emotional intelligence. So what is the difference between IQ and EQ? IQ normally is the coefficient in the intellect, the coefficient intellect that you might have. The thing is, what more and more studies have proven is that what runs the show is not the intellect. What runs the shows are your emotions. So when most people don't deal with their emotions, unfortunately, their emotions run the show. So what do we normally see around the world as symptoms? And again, coming from a guy that I've been doing this for 17 years and people over 44 countries, so it doesn't matter. I've heard people in the past telling me, but Tommy, you cannot compare somebody that was born in France with somebody who was born in US or Australia or New Zealand or Africa or Greece or Malaysia. And you know what? I have had the experience to work with people from all those countries, and it is the same for everyone. Most of the times we have been taught to deny, to ignore, to repress our emotions. Why? Because when we were growing up, if you felt sad, you shouldn't feel sad. If you felt angry, if you threw a tantrum, mom or dad would judge you, criticize, or reject you when you were experiencing the emotions you were going through. So unfortunately, a lot of people have learned to deny, repress, ignore their feelings and their emotions and kick them, to the back, not to deal with them, because actually they were not taught how to deal with them in a healthy way. So I want to share with you today the importance of EQ, emotional intelligence. When we understand that whatever we're struggling with, anxiety, stress, overwhelm, analysis paralysis, overthinking, procrastination, perfectionism, you name it, whatever you're struggling with, that is just the symptom of something deeper. Underneath those behaviors, those symptoms, you have the emotional world. The emotions create those type of states. Emotions create, normally that people start feeling depressed, start feeling overwhelmed, start feeling whatever, you name it again. And underneath, and listen to this because this is the most important part of this work, underneath the emotions, you have your belief system. And if we don't go through our emotions, we navigate through our emotional world, we're not going to be able to tap into our belief system. Your belief system is something that was created between age 0 and 7 around everything, around success, around failure, around making mistakes, around money, around relationships, around communication, around high performance, around your self-value, your self-image. Everything was uploaded into your mind between the age 0 and 7. And most people don't even know what their belief system is. So to be able to really tap into your belief system, you need to be able to start navigating first through your emotional world. Because again, if emotions are too high, the intellect shuts down. Hasn't it ever happened that you were very stressed out with anxiety, with different really high emotions, and you were not able to see clearly what the next step was, what opportunities were in front of you, what the next step was for you, and things like that? Is because your emotional world will shut down the intellect, and it's not going to allow you to see opportunities. They're going to just be shut down, and you're going to see very limited or no opportunities or no next steps, and you're going to get stuck. Stuck is just the symptom that emotions are taking over. Overwhelm is just a symptom that emotions are taking over. Procrastination, emotion taking over, the mind taking over. So when we start understanding that the most important thing that we need to start practicing is emotional intelligence, if I got to pick one thing in my life right now to start working on, is emotional intelligence. And today I was offering a training, and this came up to me, and it really blew my mind because it's so basic, but I love breaking things down and making them very basic. Imagine that we were all born into families that we were taught that if you do some exercise and your muscles ache, your muscles feel pain, you need to stop because that is very dangerous for you. Imagine where we would be as society if we had learned that if muscles ache even a little bit, we got to stop doing what produces the ache. We would have all our muscles that would have been atrophied. I don't know, is that the right word like that? But there might be an atrophy, muscles not developed because of the lack of exercise. That didn't happen. So we walk, even if our legs hurt, if our feet hurt, if we do exercise, even if our upper body hurts, we keep going because we know that as you keep going, muscle starts building up. Resistance starts building up. So maybe the first day you walk 5 miles, 5 kilometers, whatever, doesn't matter, but you walk and it hurts, but then you start creating resistance, and then you can walk even more. You can do more exercise. You go swim, the body aches, and then you keep doing it, and you get accustomed to that, and then you can resist even doing more exercise, and your muscle starts developing. That basic. Well, the same happens with the emotional muscles. We have been taught that feeling negative emotions is danger. It's a threat. And you still see it in communities where, spiritual communities where you are not supposed to talk about anything negative, that you got to think positive. That is the BS we're still living in. Again, imagine somebody trying to run a race, to train for a race, and his muscles starts aching, and I tell them, no, stop. That is dangerous. You can die. You can, kill yourself if you keep doing what you're doing. Imagine that person listens and stops doing exercise because he thinks that it's a threat for him. That is what's happening in the emotional arena. Most people have learned, and it's still reinforced today, that we're not supposed to feel anything negative. And unfortunately, in the spiritual world, it is kind of, entangled up with, if you think negative, you're going to attract negative. What you think, you attract. And you know what? That is a load of crap, unfortunately, guys. That is the easy way for the ego to control you from not feeling negative emotions. Did Jesus ever taught that we needed to be positive all the time, that we shouldn't feel negative? Did Buddha teach that? Did Krishna teach that? None of the avatars that walked this earth told us that we had to deny our negatives and just feel the positives. And many times along the Bible, you can see Jesus suffering, and he's not telling himself that he got to stop the suffering, he got to think positive. He doesn't teach that. So why do we do it? We got to start questioning what a lot of people out there are teaching, because they're teaching BS. I'm sorry, but this is what's getting most people stuck. not dealing with their emotions. So I'm going to share with you my humble opinion that I've learned from following a lot of people out there, but this is my experience and this is what I teach. The most spiritual experience you can have where ego cannot take control. Listen to that again. The spiritual experience that you can have, truly spiritual experience that doesn't include ego, is practicing unconditional love, loving and accepting the parts of you that had been rejected or are not supposedly good enough or are not acceptable. Imagine that, I don't know, somebody is into porn. I teach people that are into porn to love and accept the part of them that is falling into porn. The people that are drinking, the people that are, sex addicts, smoking, drugs. I teach them to love and accept that part of them. Because if they truly can connect with unconditional love to a part of them that has been denied, rejected, judged, criticized in the past, and ego would do that, ego cannot be there. When you truly love and accept what is, there's no space for ego. That's the most spiritual experience you can have, practicing unconditional love, because God is unconditional love. Spirit is unconditional love. Anything else that you can practice, oh, but Tommy, I practice meditation. You know how many people I work with that they do meditation to move away from the pain, to not feel their emotions, or they do prayers when they're in a bad spot and they ask God to please take them out of this place that they are, or to give them something that they're needing. That could be ego, control, instead of just accepting what is. And guys, I'm not saying it's easy. Please, I'm not saying it's easy. That's why in the Bible it says that the gate to heaven, the door to heaven, is a very small door. Because it's very easy to get deviated from ego, controlling your emotions, controlling your state, not to feel in a specific way. That is ego controlling. A lot of people want to let go control, but they still control their emotions. That is not spirit. Spirit loves and accepts what is, whatever that is. If I'm not making it to the end of the month, imagine being able to sit back and just love and accept the experience you're going through, to learn what's underneath, and to be able to experience that unconditional love. This morning, I had a session with a woman. Over here, it's already after lunch, okay? And this woman was telling me that she had gone on vacations to a place in Brazil and that she had felt so much peace. She was there in the water, in the ocean, swimming, and she felt calm, peace. And she said, Tommy, maybe I need to go live to Brazil because that's where I feel my peace. And I said, yeah, of course. It was a long conversation, but I'm going to make it small shorter, because if not, I'm going to spend hours talking about this. But the truth is, I started asking questions and help her realize that the truth is that she can experience that here and now. And I began to ask her, would you like to be able to experience that here and now where you are? Tommy, that would be amazing if I can experience what I experienced over there in Brazil in my vacations here and now. So we started doing some work where she ended the session like this, leaning backwards and just loving and accepting what was going on. And she was able to connect with calmness and peace, inner peace. And I asked her, did anything change externally? Do you still have different things that are going on in your life that you want to change, that are worrying you, all of that? And she's like, yeah, nothing changed externally. So what's changed? She was able to connect with spirit, with unconditional love, and just stay there, living the experience. A lot of people try to control. A lot of people use Edgar Tolle, and she was telling me, Tommy, I find myself living in the future or living in the past. I told her, love and accept what is. It's okay if a part of you is going into the future or going into the past. And we started talking. And eventually, she found out that those parts of her that were trying to go into the future, trying to go into the past, were trying to avoid her criticism towards herself. So at the end, they were seeking for love. Because if she changed her past, she wouldn't criticize herself, so she would love herself. If she was able to create something in the future that would give her what she was looking for, she would feel loved. So at the end, I helped her with all these dynamics, and I'm making it very short in this, sharing the story, to be able to connect with true love and love and accept the part of her criticizing, the part of her that was not where she wanted to go, that she wasn't where she wanted to be. All of those things, as she loved and accepted every part of her, she started experiencing unconditional love and inner peace. That's how it is. Unfortunately, a lot of people are telling you that you need to change something, that you need to change your state, that you need to do something to get out of where you are. And that's not wrong, don't get me wrong. But if you're doing it from a place of avoiding pain, you're not exercising the muscles that need to be exercised. We need to start becoming best friends, if you want, with fear, with shame, with loneliness, with anger, with whatever. Because if you're feeling lonely, and suddenly imagine my kid comes in and he says, Dad, I feel lonely. Oh, don't feel lonely. Think positive. Think happy thoughts. He's going to feel more lonely because I'm ignoring his experience. So what I would do is I would be there for him. I would hug him. I would say that he has valid reasons to feel the way that he feels, that I understand that he feels that way. I'm just going to try to be there for him, not try to fix it, not try to get him out of the pain. I would just stay there with him in the pain. And as we do that, the pain starts dissolving. The part of you feeling lonely now feels that there's somebody there for them and they're not alone. And that's exactly what I teach with the people that I work with. And that's why I say that this can change your life forever. Because if you're sad, you would like to have somebody there holding you, hugging you through the sadness, through the loneliness, through the solitude, through the anger, through whatever that you're feeling. You would love to have somebody there. So why aren't you giving that to yourself? So again, the more we're able to practice emotional intelligence, meaning being there for our emotions, feeling the sad, feeling the anger, feeling the guilt, feeling whatever it is. I work with a lot of people that they use guilt to try to get them out of where they are, to try to bring a change into their life. And they want to get rid of guilt, but they keep reinforcing it. Or it is control, or whatever it is. The more we're able to practice loving and accepting, we're able to then access deeper into the mind. That's the gateway, the entrance to the subconscious mind. Going through the emotions is what's open, but going through the emotions in a healthy way, not denial, not repressing, not trying to control, just feeling them allows us to get into the subconscious mind. And this woman I was working this morning that was really struggling this morning before our session and during a little bit of our session was able to start realizing that she was beating herself up really badly, that she should be in some place different in her life because that's the only way that she was going to love herself. She was going to love herself only if she achieved different things in her life. As we started showing her self-love, she started feeling calmness, inner peace, and she was able to feel love no matter what. Because then I asked her, hey, if you would have been going through what you're going, right? Whatever that is that you're going through, if you didn't go through this, would you be talking to me? Would you be going inside and loving and accepting yourself no matter what? And she said, no, Tommy, if things were going as expected, I wouldn't be doing this work with you. And one of the things that she said that was amazing, she said, and this is something I hear a lot in marketing from marketing gurus, is you're going to reap what you sow. So if you put the work in, you should be able to get results. So her false belief is, Tommy, if I'm putting in the work, why am I not getting what I want? And I told her, what if what you want comes from ego? What if it doesn't come from spirit? What if your soul wants you to practice unconditional love, that's who you truly are, to dissolve who you're not, remove the masks that you put on to fit into this world, and to become more your true self? Towards the end of the session, she was like, wow, yes, this is what I want. So I get it, that it's not that what you sow, you reap. Many times you might get things that you don't want as an opportunity to practice that unconditional love to get your life to the next level. And that doesn't mean getting what you want, because maybe getting what you want is from the ego, not from spirit. God might have a much bigger plan for you, but it might be getting lost because of ego. I have worked with so many people that have been letting the ego run the show and not truly connecting with their emotions, practicing this emotion intelligence, being there for their emotions, being there for them through any challenge that they're going through. The more you're able to do that, be present, bring consciousness to the different emotions you're going through, I guarantee that your life can start changing. That doesn't mean that you're going to get what you want. That just means that you're going to be able to experience more joy, more happiness, more inner peace, more calmness, more often in your life, no matter what is going on the outside. And every single person that has committed to work with me has been able to experience that, whether it was a glimpse, whether it was more, depending on how much work they did. Everybody has experienced some type of calmness, inner peace, some feeling of freedom, joy, happiness, and self-love that they were lacking. That's how powerful this work is when we put it in place correctly. Saying affirmations, positivity, and all of that, unfortunately, is not really helping because you're trying to avoid the pain. Saying affirmations from a place of just feeling okay, feeling happy, and using affirmation, that is great. But most people use affirmations, visualizations of positivity, or even gratitude to stop feeling their emotions. That is not emotional intelligence. That is cognitive bypass. Whatever you do, again, whatever you do to not feel your emotions is not emotion intelligence. It's cognitive bypass, and it's going to create more problems in your life. So again, if you truly want to start making changes, we got to practice emotion intelligence, self-awareness, and several more things, practice language. There's many things that I use in the work that I do, that I share with in my book, in my trainings, working one-on-one with people. And that's why people see so many changes in their life as they start working, applying this, because this is a life changer. When you're actually willing to feel the pain, develop those muscles to withstand more pain, and you keep going, you're able to enter into your subconscious mind and really start reprogramming the subconscious mind. So I hope that makes sense. I hope this helps you open up to start practicing, even if it's a little bit, connecting with your emotions, feeling them, validating them, to help you start dealing with whatever you need to go through to get into your subconscious mind, your belief system, to start reprogramming. If you want to know more, if you're liking this, write the word free, and we'll share free training with more insight and tools that are going to help you start making deep changes in your life. So I hope that made sense. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know in the